Hey guys, Dr. Vic here. This is tip number 26 out of 30. We're coming to the end, folks. We're getting right there. These tips are all about to inspire you for your new year, but more importantly, new decade. This one I wanted to share, bring some of the neuroscience behind making change. There's something called Hebb's Law. And what that means is that nerves that fire together wire together. Okay. In chiropractic, we talk a lot about neuroplasticity. And what that means is that the mind is plastic. It can be changed. It can mold. It can shift. It's always learning. We know this for a fact from a chiropractic and a neuroscience world, that the mind is always changing, shifting, and adapting. And this is why, from a chiropractic standpoint, we're very critical about making sure not only you get through all this new wiring to get you to be in a more optimal state, but we maintain it through lifestyle, maintenance, wellness, those types of things. So when it comes to the neurology of things, neurology is really simple to understand. It's not fun. It's not sexy. It's not these new things that make you feel all great. Neurology is very, very simple. In my second book I wrote, I talked about how you have to focus on something. You got to put energy into it, being present with emotions and all this, and you got to be consistent. And if you do those three things, you'll get success. You'll get to what you're looking for. Neurology is very similar. You have to constantly stimulate an area of doing something. Stimulate, stimulate, stimulate. And what it does is every time you do that, you're like, oh, we're going to possibly do something new. We're going to possibly learn this new way. We're going to possibly go that way. Right? It's like learning a language. It's like learning a new instrument, like learning martial arts, learning anything. You have to have a lot of consistency and high volume of frequency in the beginning. Chiropractic works the exact same way. It's all neurology at the end of the day. And so what you have to do then is as you continually work on these small little things, eventually the brain starts the neuroplasticity, right? Starts wiring differently. Hebb's Law, nerves that fire together, wire together. Once you get this wiring together, all of a sudden, boom, that's a pattern. Now you created a habit. Now you got to reinforce it. You got to keep doing the work to reinforce that to become more of a lifestyle, where then all of a sudden you just do it. Don't even have to think about it. Just like I've been meditating for 1,000 days straight, right? And it's one of those things where that practice, when I don't have a day of not meditating, all of a sudden I'm like, wait, something's off. Something's off. I didn't do something. Something's off. Or if I don't do it in the morning, I feel off too. But this is why it's important to do small things over a period of time. When you want to achieve big goals, you want to create a different person, you want to shift yourself. Let's say you're afraid of public speaking. All right. Take time to practice a little over time. Eventually, you'll get these connections. You'll get easier with it. And you start to get a lot more centered and calmer with it where it doesn't affect you. Let's say you want to learn to do better in, let's say, marketing in your business. You don't know anything about it. You read books, you expose yourself to things, you start learning, right? You start building these new pathways, and you're taking new information to understand it easier. If you want to get stronger, you want to rebuild up more muscle. Again, same thing. Everything is neurology at the end of the day. So it's the stuff that you give yourself small exposure to. That's why doing small things over a long period of time, that's why I made that a tip. Well, now you know the neuro behind it, that this is what's going to connect slowly over time, because you can't break a connection in the brain. It doesn't work that way. What happens is that you keep feeding energy to something else, and the brain will say, okay, we're going to take away from here and go over here. And they'll start to slowly make a new connection this way. But that's kind of like how energy works also. You can't stop energy or break energy. You just got to send energy to two different areas. In my first book, Rediscover Greatness, I shared the story about two wolves. It's a Cherokee Legend, okay? I'm not going to give you the whole legend of it, a story, but long story short, grandson talking to grandpa, chief, and he says, hey, I have he's telling him a story about how he has these two wolves, and one, seems good and one seems bad. He's like, I don't know who wins out of this, Long story short, and I'm butchering this a little bit, but long story short, chief says, it's the one you feed who's going to win, right? Just because you make a change doesn't mean that the old patterns are going to not just go away instantly. It doesn't work that way. Just like you just feed this wolf instead of this one, guess what? That wolf's not going to go away like this. It's going to be a process and some time before it happens. And so when it comes to your life, it's choosing and focusing on what it is you choose. That's why focus is everything. Whatever you focus on is what's going to create your reality too. And so the neurology behind this is that you have to focus on things over time, small little increments over time. And that's when you become a master. So give yourself some time, okay? Put your energy into it. Be really centered and be there at the moment. Don't just check off boxes, and be consistent. And that's the recipe to get where you get to. want to thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, keep rocking and rolling.